We've been talking about autoimmune conditions and why there's been such a huge spike in the number of autoimmune conditions, and not just the number, but the different types. We've seen types of autoimmune conditions that are very rare and haven't been around. So what is the reason for this? So we've been talking about the different triggers. In our first video, we talked about how that infections are known to trigger autoimmune conditions. These are viral infections, bacterial infections, fungal infections. Things like Epstein-Barr virus are known to trigger autoimmune conditions. Second thing we talked about was how toxins can trigger autoimmune conditions, and these toxins are particularly bad for people whose genetics prevent them from being able to get rid of these toxins. So the levels build up and the immune system gets affected by it and they develop an autoimmune condition. Today what we want to talk about is how that the intestinal tract, when it's not working right, can be a huge trigger for autoimmune conditions. Your intestinal tract is exposed to all different kinds of pathogens because they're in the food that we eat and the beverages that we drink. They're not all pure, they're not all sterile, and so we get exposed to lots of different pathogens, and sometimes these pathogens can find a home in our intestinal tract, and they can damage our intestinal tract. Our diets can be very harmful to our digestive tract. There's a diet called the Standard American Diet, the SAD diet. Google it. It's done. There've been tons of research on the Standard American Diet and how harmful it is for the GI tract. But what happens in the GI tract when it's damaged by these different things is that it can become hyperpermeable. So your intestinal tract is all about keeping toxins coming into your intestinal tract and getting nutrition into your bloodstream. And it's managed by these cells in the small intestine. When it's damaged, these cells don't work right and they allow things into the bloodstream that don't belong. And that causes the immune system to freak out because it recognizes that, hey, that shouldn't be here, let's go get it. And it causes the immune system to do some very strange things like create antibodies to the thyroid. And so now the body thinks the thyroid's an enemy. That can all start when the intestinal tract is allowing material into the bloodstream that doesn't belong there. And so when we have autoimmune patients, we take their GI health very seriously. So there's great testing for leaky gut, intestinal hyperpermeability, so we can find out for sure whether or not this is an issue. We look for the different causes of leaky gut. So we talked about diet, we check for food sensitivities, we look for different pathogens that could be causing damage to the gut, and we get rid of them, we clean it up, we get that gut healthy. And oftentimes just getting the gut healthy can be a huge help in reducing or eliminating an autoimmune condition.